And just like that, we're back with your week 9, your most reliable injury report, the MRI report, as it is shortened. I'm here with Dr. Kyle, board certified doctor of PT. How are we doing tonight?
You see these glasses there, Maddie? I am all cross-eyed from this week. Oh man, I gotta switch out. I can't say anything, but I'm good. How are
Yeah,
you?
no. Dude, I'm living the dream right now. I'm basically losing in a league to a two and six team to ensure that my second round pick that I have is going to be the 201 from one of the owners. So it's a strategical day. I'm thinking about it from both sides. But we have some serious injuries that did not happen to any of my teams. So that's great news, but it's not good for news for everyone else.
I'm like catching lightning in a bottle. It feels like these days.
Yeah, man, that Kenny Galladay injury hampered almost all my rosters. We'll touch on that a little later
Yeah.
because we didn't. I don't think we had a show last week where we touched on it, but
No, my
it was
apologies.
non-contact. So
I was traveling.
no, you're good.
I think we all know it was a bit of a crazy week, for better or for worse, for most people. But yeah, we're gonna get back on track. Actually, we're live right now. The game is on. I think this should be like our go-to time going forward during right
I
around
think so, man.
the Monday night game.
I think so. I think we should do halftime Monday Night Football and then just keep it brief, keep it short, so that we can get back to some football because everyone loves more football.
For sure.
That's why I love overtime. It's free football. But going into some football, man, I personally said that Teddy Two Gloves was going to be a sit this week. Christian McCaffrey comes back, wrecks shit up, and then wah 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 wah. I was wrong. Yeah. I'm gonna have to take a shot on the Friday show for that one for sure. Teddy Two Gloves put up the quarterback 6 performance on the week. But CMC, man, he put up the running back 2 performance, but he has a shoulder injury.
He does.
Ooh.
Don't know the diagnosis yet. It sounds like he's day to day, but I would bet, it's probably like 60-40 leaning he doesn't play this week. I think as the week progresses, we'll know more, and that 60-40 will slowly become 100-0. I don't think there's any need to rush him back. Look at what they did in his absence. Not that he's completely replaceable, but Mike Davis has been very good as a backup. So yeah, why rush him back again? And let's see what happens.
I have to say I agree with that statement. And my next statement is fire Matt Patricia from the Lions. He's a clown. I'm wearing my shirt today. It is a fire Matt Patricia. Yep. It's the clown nose on it. It's got the pencil on the back that says fire Patricia. If you're watching on YouTube, you could see it. Yeah, I made this up and I had it printed, and it's a kind of a secretive shirt. So let me know if you'd like to get on the movement. I've been on the movement since week 3 to fire Patricia. But moving on, I'm gonna move on from that segment to Kyle Allen, a former teammate of Christian McCaffrey's. Did you see that injury?
No, and I will not. I don't think I'll watch it. After watching Dax, I just can't watch those. Somebody said it looked like Dax, and I was like,
it was.
Oh. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, he picked his leg up. He picked his leg up after, and it was just like, yeah, my leg's not working anymore. And it got rolled up on a defender. Yeah, no, he was getting tackled, and then his leg completely twisted with the defender's knee pit, and it got caught in there. So yeah, his leg went the other way it should have gone, and it looked bad.
Right.
I feel for Kyle Allen. He'll be back in the league somewhere. He's like the cockroach right now. He's just going to continue to pop up and start for teams when they need him.
He hasn't been
yeah, man.
Yet either.
He's looked decent.
He could come back this year. Apparently,
what's up?
He could be back.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw him post on Instagram saying that he would be back next year. Okay. So I think the verdict is, yeah. I think the verdict might be that he's going to be out for the rest of the year.
Right.
Because he said he's going to be back better and stronger next year. And speaking about better and stronger, man, David Montgomery, he's got concussed, and better and stronger Ryan Nowell came in and finished the game with a running back one performance. Like
Wow.
it doesn't
Terrible
make sense.
Bears
It
offense.
doesn't make sense. The Bears offense is so bad, but how does Dave Montgomery not put up a RB1 performance, but this white guy from Western Michigan or wherever he's from puts up a running back one performance? I don't get it.
Wait, how did he? Wasn't Barkevius Mingo their leading rusher in that game?
Isn't Barkevius Mingo like a
Yes.
defensive end?
Yes. It was on a fake punt. They were talking about it on the GM Shuffle today. I thought it was hilarious.
I think Ryan Nall might have had a touchdown or two, but
Did
he
have a
put up.
touchdown if you were-
Okay, so he put up. It was a very ugly week for running backs. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
This dude had 4 carries, 35 yards, and a touchdown, and that was
Oh,
like
okay.
RB11.
Gross.
So it was a bad week for running back scoring if you weren't Dalvin Cook or Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Anyway, David
So
Montgomery.
like it was the difference between. Anyway, about David Montgomery, he's concussed with a head injury.
Every time, I'm so bad. Yes, Montgomery's concussed. He's in the protocol. Grab Nall where you can for cheap, but there's a chance Montgomery's back. I think the Bears play on Monday night next week, so that gives them an extra day. But if there's any setbacks, like if you see a setback on Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to want to pivot, not trying to guess if he's going to play on Monday. That old game.
I agree. Ryan Nall, he is an undrafted free agent from Oregon State. He is 6'2", 240 pounds, so he's more of a thumper than he is lightning in the bottle. It's going to be interesting to see with Chicago. They're not a good offense, so maybe it's not going to be interesting to see. But it's something to see at least, we have another concussion to report on.
We got like 7 of them.
David Johnson.
Just rattle them all off.
Yeah, let's go. David Johnson and Jack Doyle, both concussed. David Johnson was my running back start of the week in the flex calls, and it turns out I meant Duke Johnson.
The other D Johnson.
Yeah, I wrote the wrong one. But it's David Johnson. It's a concussion. What can you expect? Like a week, maybe he's out this week, but he'll be back next week. Maybe he'll be back this week because he got injured on Sunday. We don't know.
Same thing for all of them. And then Jack Doyle, he was concussed as well. Though I believe he I have to look. He might have a history of concussions at this point. I mean, to be honest, probably every guy that plays in the NFL has a history of concussions at this point. But I believe Doyle had a Vontaze Burfict, a man's concussion from Vontaze Burfict dropping illegal hits probably across the middle of the field. I am beat, Matt. It must have been 2 weeks ago. I was talking about if Mo Alley Cox is available in Dynasty on any of your waiver wires, just stash him. Looking, Trey Burton and Jack Doyle are there, but Burton, at that point, he was rostered by the Colts, and it was looking like they could go their separate ways at the end of the year. They've already released him, and now Doyle is injured, so now it's literally Mo Alley Cox again. So I'll probably be.
I'm so excited.
Dropping some fab for him in my dynasty leagues because I do FFPC and they have roster limits, so that it's like you're not carrying 30, 35 guys. It's 22, I think, including your defensive kicker, and it's super flex. So I'm gonna go find me some Cox.
I love Mo Cox. He's a great basketball player, converted to a tight end. There's nothing wrong with that statement saying you love Mo Alley Cox because he's a great tight end. And he's going to do well if Jack Doyle misses time. And I picked him up where I could this past week in most leagues just because I figured get him now. And, I do waivers about halfway through the season because I'm lazy. Yeah. So I had grab some Mo Alley Cox and it's paid off.
Yeah. All right. What else? Let's go.
Moving on. It was a slow week for injuries, man. It was a slow week. We didn't have that many, so our show's not going to be sponsored that heavily this week. But Mike Williams, head injury again. He fell on his head and hurt it. Humpty Dumpty'd it.
You can't make this stuff
That's
up.
all I can say.
Second to last play of the game.
It happened again. Yeah, I think it was he caught it and then he hit his head.
and therefore didn't catch it. And the
Yeah.
Chargers went on to lose another close game. Which is
Nearly came
why,
up with a game-winning touchdown catch, but he ultimately got hurt going to the ground.
yeah, sucks. Sucks to suck.
Sucks to be Mike Williams, man.
Yeah,
He was
seriously.
drafted so high. I mean, he was drafted so high, and his potential's just not panned out yet. Whereas T. Higgins drafted in the second round is already hitting more than Mike Williams has for dynasty
Crazy, right?
purposes as well. Yeah,
I feel like they
draft
probably have
wide
fairly
receivers in the
similar
second.
profiles too.
They had very similar. T. Higgins was definitely the lower prospect because he didn't get as much separation and he has less speed off the line of scrimmage, but he's cooking people in the NFL. So
Nice.
I would love to trade for T. Higgins where I could. Speaking about rookies, Albert I'm not gonna try to. I think it's Okwuegbunam. I just butchered that, but Albert Big O.
Wait, here
He's out for the year.
From Office Space. Albert not going to be playing football anymore this year. Hope Office Space fans out there who get that one. Yeah, torn ACL confirmed today via MRI, and his year is done. And the timing of this stinks because we're looking at a year out from surgery where these guys really start to look like themselves again. That's middle of next year. Noah Fant is banged up. All of a sudden that Broncos team that looks stacked with weapons, deep tight ends and deep wide receivers. It's like Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick. Yeah, Jake Butt. Little Jake Butt.
He's going to be the starting tight end.
Grab
Jay
him.
Booty.
$3.99.
No, don't grab Butt. He's not that good.
Grab Hawk.
I wouldn't trust. Yeah, grab Hawk. He's great. Going on, Justin Jackson went down on the first snap from scrimmage. I think it's not a good sign for him because he didn't even come back to the game.
No, he did. I just read he ended. So he got injured on the first snap. I think he played 2 or 3 more snaps, but never touched the ball again. And it's like there's no information on it really. I mean, I'm sure there's information.
He had a knee. It's a knee.
It's a knee.
All I know is it's a knee injury. So maybe it's the Kerryon Johnson knee injury where it's just like, oh, it hurts, and then he goes back in and he plays just fine. And it's like, oh, well, it's a MCL injury, and you're done for the year.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, I think the play at this point for the Chargers backfield is probably to avoid until Eckler comes back, and then hopefully you have Eckler.
And that's what we're going to say on our FlexCast series as well. When people ask the question of should I play Joshua Kelly or DeAndre Swift, it's like, well, who has a guaranteed snap share? It's pretty obvious questions there. But that was one of our questions in the Star Sits this last week. And then moving on to another receiver with the last name of Williams, Preston Williams, foot injury. He exited, and I think he had a catch, and then he got the foot injury. But I really like him. I really liked Preston Williams.
In my 750 FFPC dynasty, that's my first dynasty ever. So that's my baby. I had I got Preston Williams cheap in the offseason, and then I drafted Tua. So I was like pumped to see the stack going strong. And then on a touchdown, he had 4 for 60 in the first half and a touchdown, and then injured it on the touchdown. Apparently he was carted off after being seen in the tent. It seems to be not too serious. He could play this week, though. He's day to day, which really means I think that's what McCaffrey's labeled as right now. So we're not betting on him playing this week. I mean, if he is playing, the Dolphins play the Chargers at home. That Chargers defense the Chargers defense is like the new Titans defense and the Seahawks defense. Like put the Chargers in that category. Like I'll probably talk about this Chargers Dolphins game on the big bet with Memphis this week as a little bit of a tease. Catch us Wednesday at 9:30 live, or it'll come out on Thursday on the pod. But yeah, this chart, like I don't like Memphis and Memphis got me hooked on the GM shuffle and RJ Bell. So anytime I reference them and you get annoyed by it, blame Memphis. He got me hooked. That stuff is like inject it into my veins every week. I can't wait for both of them to come out. But yeah, Lombardi and Adnan, they all they could talk about with the Chargers is how they can't win close games, and I'm kicking myself for not taking the Raiders earlier in the week last week when they were getting points. That line closed at giving 1 for the Raiders, and that was still a cover, I think. It was close. It was very close. The Chargers, they scored as time expired, but ultimately it was called back. Anthony Lynn is just not the guy, but that's gonna that's a prime landing spot for a good coach next year. So that'll be one Memphis and I are going to keep the big bet going through the offseason, even though there won't be any NFL on. But we'll probably talk about props. And one I'll look at is, if the Chargers finish with like a relatively low win total this year, in the 4, 5, 6 range, and they land a good coach, that's going to be a huge difference maker for that team. Obviously,
Joe Brady
defense, but yeah, or Eric Bieniemy.
The LA appeal, I think, is going to appeal to one of the best coaches, and the sexiest name in football right now is Joe Brady for what he's done with Teddy Two Gloves. Eric Bieniemy, I don't want, when I'm hiring a coach, I want someone who's come into a new program and shown success. I don't want someone who's coached in a coaching tree and just been moved up the ladder. No offense to Eric Bieniemy, but Joe Brady's come in and established his offense, and he said it works, and it does work in the NFL. So that's my take on Joe Brady being a hot name for the coaching candidate. Get him before your team cannot get him, because he will be gone next year. But I want to touch on the Preston Williams injury. Jakeem Grant is the name that I'm picking up in what waivers and everywhere, because Jakeem Grant had a key grab to set up the field goal to win the game against the Cardinals. Jakeem Grant's going to be involved more with Preston Williams being out. Sorry, all the Williams on the injury report are confusing me, but Preston Williams, if he's out, it's gonna be the guy who can create separation for Tua, and that's going to be Gesicki, and that's going to be Jakeem Grant. So I'm going to be playing them with confidence this next week if Preston Williams is not a go.
I second that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, football's been fun. It was an ugly week for running backs, like we said. Good week for wide receivers. A lot of wide receivers blew up this last week. Terry McLaurin had a good week. He wasn't even. I don't think he finished as a wide receiver 1, which is crazy because he had like 20-something points. Yeah, dude, Devontae Adams, Richie James Jr. was a wide receiver 1.
Okay, and he's running around going, "I'm Richie James."
I'm Richie James, biatch. But yeah, dude, that's Jerry's guy. Jerry Sinclair, the main show, loved Richie James coming out, and I do not blame him, because look at what he can do on the field, man. He is so good after the catch. But he's buried on that depth chart under Ayuk and Debo when they're healthy. So given the chance, he's balled out, kind of similar to how Travis Fulgham did. And hopefully he can continue it, because I'm going to waiver Richie James in a lot of dynasty leagues. So I'm hoping he can continue the success. Who's playing Thursday night this week?
Oh, shoot. You caught me with my pants down. I should know that. Colts and
Let's
somebody.
See. Let's give him some flex plays before we leave.
Colts, Tennessee.
Colts versus Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, which means I don't think Jack Doyle can play. I don't think he can clear the protocol quick enough. Colts are getting.
But here's your flex play: Michael Pittman Jr., because the Tennessee Titans defense is terrible, and then Mo Alley Cox, because the Tennessee Titans defense is terrible. And then I'm going to give you a Tennessee Titans player, and it's going to be Jonnu Smith, because you need to play him as a tight end, and he's going to do wonders against this defense, which is going to key in on Derrick Henry, open up play action for Ryan Tannehill.
There you go. Early in the week, Flex Master Funk.
Mm-hmm. I would say A.J. Brown, but he's not a flex player.
No, he just flexes.
He's flexing on everybody as a wide receiver 1 in Dynasty. Him and DK, man. Here's a question. How did Shea Patterson not produce with DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown in the same offense?
That's a very good question.
But that just shows Jim Harbaugh's ability to scout quarterbacks.
Yeah, and this is why we're not talking about Shea Patterson on this podcast.
Because he's not an NFL quarterback. Yeah, but the show for this week, it was very mild this week. Besides the Christian McCaffrey news, so bummer for you Christian McCaffrey owners. But other than that, keep it breezy, everybody.
Yep.